Good morning, guys, from Dorado Medellin. Today we're about to dodge into the history of the most famous man of this city and arguably one of the most famous men of Colombia. He's arguably the biggest godfather and drug pimp that ever existed in history. Well, the most famous one, he is truly. And yeah, today we're about to dodge into his history, into the real history, not the one that Netflix is telling you and not the one that Wikipedia is telling you. Today we're gonna go on the hunt of the true story of Pablo. Join me. Today I'm gonna be given a private tour by a friend of mine. I was obviously here last year. I'm not gonna say his name because he doesn't want to be on camera. And yeah, he has an interesting history. He was working under the Medellin cartel, as most people in the times of Pablo were. Most people that were from Medellin were working under the Medellin cartel. And after Pablo's death, obviously, the American government and the Colombian government want to put everyone in jail that was linked to the Medellin cartel. And so is this guy. This guy spent 15 years in an American jail. And after coming out of jail, he came back to Colombia and to Medellin, to his hometown, and created the Pablo tour. And yeah, I did that tour last year, and he's a good guy, a good mate. And I texted him up yesterday and said, "Mate, I'm back in town. Could you give me a private tour? I've got a YouTube channel." And he said yes. So today we're going to go on a private Pablo tour.
Say, oh shit, so Pablo was right. Pablo was right. It don't matter how many people he killed, he was defending himself, but he's right about what he was doing against the government.
No, of course.
The government always going to be corrupted. But here's an example. We have a president nowadays who used to be an M19 guerrilla member.
What?
Yeah. So instead of us moving forward, we're going backwards. They didn't want Pablo to be a politician because they said Pablo was a criminal.
Because he was an opponent.
Now we have an ex-criminal as a president. And we have this new people from other countries who are coming here to do the best stuff. Not even locals are doing it. So it's a shame. And we need to change this. But everything starts from the head.
Yeah, because the governments are always corrupted. Like they're always robbing people.
And
Colombia could be a very rich country, actually.
It is. Colombia is very rich. We have of course, Colombia is not just Pablo Escobar, but you can't change the history. The history is already there. People already know about it. Why are you going to try to change the history instead of educating people about it? Be proud of it. Hey, yeah, we went through so much.
Of course, you cannot ignore your history.
Right.
You cannot ignore it.
We've been through so much.
You have to learn from it.
But here's the results of all the pain we went through. Here's our transformation. Yeah. We have a beautiful city, sophisticated, modern. But they continue hiding a lot of the information. They don't want people to learn. They don't educate kids in school about it. And kids, when they see this TV series, Narcos, and there's other series about Pablo Escobar, most of these kids want to be Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
Because they're not being educated. We got it.
Check it out, guys. This is Envigado, the area in which Pablo Escobar grew up.
Now, nowadays, in the underground world, even though, as you can see, Envigado is a really nice city, well, not city, a neighborhood, high class. So these days, this Envigado area is considered the office. Why the office?
The office, la oficina.
La oficina. Why the office? Because back in the days when people were asking Pablo, where you at? Pablo didn't want to say, I'm in Envigado. So he always called his neighborhood the office. That's the nickname for this neighborhood, the office, la oficina. So people knew that when he said, I'm in the office, he was meaning that he was here in Envigado. So these days, our criminals, or let's say, put it that way, like criminals who live in Envigado are considered la oficina de Envigado, And when you own people money, and when you have people that don't want to pay you, you come to these people here in Envigado and they will collect your money.
Still to this day.
To this day. So
And right now we're also in La Oficina, the office.
The office. Envigado is known as the office.
Right.
And then we're gonna go. We have to cross Envigado to go all the way up to Pablos Jail called La Catedral, the cathedral.
Oh, I see. Here's a huge mall, a huge
This
shopping
mall is the biggest mall in South America.
What? Really?
It's called Viva Envigado.
Wow. Did you hear that, guys? It's the biggest mall in South America. Amazing. And it's in Pablos neighborhood, Envigado in La Oficina. Check it out. Bigger than any mall in South America.
Bigger than anybody in South
Wow. Well, you cannot not think that this is due to Pablo as well. It's due to Pablo's
It's big.
achievements as well.
This is a big
I mean, he
thing.
made this neighborhood famous.
Of course he made this neighborhood famous. So we're going all the way to the top of the mountain to go see La Catedral.
So right, guys, if you've seen the Narcos series, Narcos Colombia, you know what Catedral is, La Catedral. This is where we're heading to now.
Stay tuned.
Yes,
Part
stay
2.
tuned.
Part 2 when we get there. We're going to
By the way, guys, this is the downtown area of Envigado, Pablo's
used to run
neighborhood.
this, he was always around these streets with his bodyguards. He was controlling this whole thing. He was always hanging out around here. La Catedral is all the way up there by the mountain.
So this was Pablo's kingdom.
Kingdom, there you go.
No police could enter here. No one that was looking for him could enter here, I guess.
He was paying cops here, so he was very protected. It was really hard to get to Pablo here.
Yeah. He could walk in the streets here like
Pablo had
without any
eyes
worries.
everywhere. So if they see a car that they don't recognize, everybody's watching that car to make sure that Pablo
was protected.
was protected.
Wow.
This is how it was.
And there's still people living up here.
Oh yeah. Here Pablo used to have people watching. First point.
Wow.
Bodyguards here watching. This is the road to go to La Catedral. One road.
Wow.
Going up and going down.
And you've got to know the point that we've just passed, that checkpoint that we've just passed, nobody back in the time of Pablo's jail could pass this checkpoint. Nobody could come up here. No policeman, no army, nobody.
And if they try to go up, they call Pablo. A random car is going to the Catedral. That was the first checkpoint. Second checkpoint. To your
Wow.
left. Here. There was people here with radios who communicate with Pablo in his own jail. This is the reason why it was really hard to get to Pablo into that jail.
So they had like 24/7 protection here
Yes.
to get up that jail.
It was
Wow.
the only way to go to La Catedral back in the days was by car. And the roads didn't look the way it looks these days. You had to go in SUVs. Small car like the one we're driving right now will not make it to the top. One way to go up, one way to come down. Before, it used to take 2 hours to get up there. Now, from here up, we're going to take 20 minutes. And now you're going to see why it's danger coming here.
Buenas.
Now you're going to see why it's so dangerous. The road is very narrow. It's really too.
Yeah, super tiny. days when Pablo was in jail up there, when his family wanted to visit him, they used to come by helicopter, not by car. It was impossible back
The
then.
gate. Here, cars.
Here is the gate. Wow.
Cars will stop here, and people have to go to the jail walking.
Wow.
Cars were allowed to go here. So these gates are original from that time.
Wow.
And over there, also this tower is original from Pablo's time.
That was the observation tower, I guess.
Yes.
Wow.
So people had to walk this to go all the way to the jail.
The entrance to La Catedral, guys.
The jail.
Yes, Pablos Jail. Pablos personal jail. Right guys, so this is it. This is La Catedral, Pablos personal jail. And on top of here is the football pitch that Pablo built for him and his friends, his inmates, friends. And up there, I hope my camera picks it up, is the apartment where Pablo lived. And on top of it is, he always had a guard watching out. So he had like 2 or 3 checkpoints to get up here, to get that mountain up here, and then still here he had a checkpoint. And in the jail himself he had a guard watching over who would come into the jail and not. And these walls are originally from that time. Nowadays, this place here, La Catedral, is used as a shelter for elder people. So these are the stairs to get up to Pablo's apartments.
Yeah, on the
Wow.
top. You had to go through different security. These little houses were security guards watching his
Wow.
apartment, his place.
So how many security actually did you need to get through here to get up all the way up here and to actually see Pablo? Like 10 with all the checkpoints.
He have the government plus his bodyguards
Wow.
watching him.
You see guys, government plus bodyguards watching him. It was practically impossible to get to him. So basically guys, this helicopter landing area was not built by Pablo, but by the Colombian government, so that when they were checking out the jail, checking out on Pablo, they were coming up here by helicopter, not by car, because by car it was practically, not impossible, but super difficult back then to get up here. And as my brother just explained to me, guys, you know why Pablo chose this place to look all over Medellin? Because down there, my camera probably won't pick it up, is the city airport, Medellin city airport. From here, Pablo controls his planes, his transporting his goods out of Medellin, and the planes getting his money back into Medellin. So yeah, Pablo, in many regards, was a genius, probably one of the smartest persons that ever existed. He thought of everything, that guy. He had control of everything. Alright guys, check it out. I'm standing on the helicopter landing field of Pablo's jail, and I'm having the same view as him. This is the view that Pablo had over Medellin, over the whole city, back when he was here in La Catedral. Check it out guys. And there you can see the airfield. From here, I guess you can see it better than from up there. Check it out guys. This is the whole city of Medellin, the entire city. From here, Pablo really had eyes, literally, over the entire city, as we are having right now. I highly recommend my friend here as a guide when you come to Medellin, because he's going to show you the real story of Pablo and the insights that you won't read on Wikipedia or won't see in the series. I'm going to put, if he wants, I'm going to put his WhatsApp number under my comments so you can hit him up. I'm not going to reveal his name here or anything, so yeah. But hit him up, he's the best guide in Medellin. Guys, this used to be Pablo's playground area. He's had his mini bar over there, the poker tables, pool tables, everything.
Prostitutes will come.
And prostitutes as well. Amazing. And nowadays, this area, this place I should say, is used by the Catholic Church as a shelter for elder people, and there's many only elder people living here now. It's like a retirement home, right? It's like a retirement home these days. And also a nice place actually to spend your final days at. I mean, if I was 90 years old or more, this would be a nice place actually to spend. Much nicer than being in some shitty retirement home in Europe. You could spend it here on top of Medellin. Wowzers. Right guys, this right here is the first football pitch that Pablo gave to the people of Envigado, to his people. It was called, and is called, El Dorado football pitch, or stadium even. And the football club here of Envigado used to play here in the stadium, but then they built their own stadium over the years, a bigger stadium. And now it is used as a training pitch by the professional clubs here in Medellin, and also by random people, by the public, who just play football or run tracks, you know, do your old running. But yeah, this is the first stadium that Pablo gave away to the people of Medellin, the people of Envigado, El Dorado Stadium. Right guys, we've now arrived at a very interesting cemetery here in Medellin. A cemetery which houses the graves, very important figures, and the grave of Pablo himself. But first of all, let's check out a very interesting grave. So right guys, this is the grave of Griselda, the Black Widow, as they called her. Griselda was the woman in charge of business before Pablo. Actually, the woman who initiated the business here in Medellin, and the woman who took Pablo under her arms and taught him. Basically, Pablo would have been a nobody without that woman. They called her the Black Widow, or La Reina. And as such, if you've watched the Netflix telenovela Queen of the South, or originally La Reina del Sur, the Mexican series, well, it was inspired by that woman, Griselda, the Black Widow. Right here guys, we can see the tomb, the grave of the Moncaro Galliano brothers. Those are the two brothers that Pablo killed himself in jail, that were coming visiting him, but they were stealing from him, which is why Pablo took the decision to kill them before they could turn on him. He famously asked them the same question 3 times: is there anything you need to tell me? They denied it 3 times, and then he shot both of them. Alright guys, I'm standing next to the grave of Pablo himself and his family. All of his family members are buried here. This is Pablo, his wife, and here we've got his bodyguard, Limon, who is known as Limon, and like in the series, who died with him that day on the 2nd of December 1993. By the way, the same gardener that worked for the family of Pablo is still taking charge of his grave today. But yeah, this is it guys, the grave of Pablo. And check out the views, the stunning views yet again from this public cemetery here in Medellin. Wonderful. This city has so many scenic viewpoints, it's incredible. Right here guys, we've got the grave of Gustavo, Pablo's cousin. If you've watched the series on Netflix, you know who Gustavo is. Gustavo, the cousin of Pablo, who is also the brain of the Medellin cartel. He died in August 1990, he was killed by the Colombian government, and he's also buried alongside his son, Gustavo Jr., who, as a coincidence, died on the same day, the exact same day as Pablo, on the 2nd of December 1993. Pablo died in the afternoon of that day, was Gustavo Jr. died in the morning. Total coincidence. Alright guys, this man right here is Federico.
Mi nombre es Federico. Trabajé mucho tiempo con la familia, ya no trabajo con ellos, pero vengo todos los días a hacer mantenimiento acá. Federico, mucho gusto.
So when you come to the tomb to the grave, to the cemetery here of Pablo and his family, to this very famous family here, this very famous cemetery here in Medellin, you'll probably bump into Federico, a good man. He's taking care of Pablo's grave every day, keeping it clean. All the graves here.
Listo.
Alright guys, next stop is a barrio which has been built by Pablo. And the legal name of that barrio is Barrio Pablo Escobar Gaviria. Wow. So yeah guys, you see, even if Pablo probably wasn't a good person, I mean he killed loads of people, he also was a wholehearted person, because he gave a home basically to 1,500 people, yeah, 1,500 people that lived in the garbage before. And then the government intervened and wanted to stop his plans, his construction plans, or destroy the houses he's built. But then he told the people, get into the houses so they're not going to destroy it. And yeah, by the time more and more houses were built there, and nowadays it is a barrio, a neighborhood, built obviously by Pablo, and it is officially called Barrio Pablo Escobar Gaviria. And also, when we get to that barrio, you've got to know that in that barrio, you know, it's not the case for the entirety of Medellin, what I'm going to tell you now, well, because for most people in Medellin, Pablo was a bad person, you know. Most people in Medellin are probably happy that this Pablo chapter is over and that Medellin has developed into a safe city, a sophisticated city, one of the safest in South America. But in that area, this poorer area, the neighborhood of Pablo Escobar Gaviria, one of the poorer areas of the city, Pablo is still considered a saint. He's considered San Pablo. So check it out guys, we've made it to the barrio Pablo Escobar Gaviria. Check it out. So basically this whole area was a garbage area before Pablo took the initiative to build houses here. So as I've told you guys before, in this barrio, Pablo is considered a saint by the people. As such, you can find a barbershop here which is called El Patron. Check it out, Barbería y Peluquería El Patron. Hey, buenas. ¿Cómo te llamas? Miguelán. Miguelán. ¿Tú eres de acá? This is Miguelán from the barrio Pablo Escobar. Mucho gusto, Miguelán. So, check it out, guys. Check it out. This is an area here in Medellin which most tourists that come here don't go to. On most Pablo tours here in Medellin, you wouldn't come to this barrio here. This barrio Pablo Escobar. Check it out. You wouldn't come here. On most tours in Medellin only bring you to Comuna 13. But my dude here, he brought me here to the barrio Pablo Escobar, which is one of the lower class neighborhoods here of Medellin. They've even got a small museum here dedicated to the life of Pablo. Pablo really is considered a saint here. There's no denying that Pablo wasn't one of the best persons that ever existed. I mean, he's also killed loads of people, loads of innocent people. But here, for the people of this barrio, he is a saint. He is. So check it out, guys, in this mini museum here that the people of Barrio Pablo Escobar Gaviria have dedicated to Pablo. You can really see the history of how this place was before Pablo took the initiative of building houses here for the people, for the poor people that lived here. Check it out, this is how it looked. It was a garbage area. 1,500 people lived here like this. So Pablo took the initiative to build houses here. Here we've got La Catedral. Here we've got the pool tables and the poker tables. It's an interesting place. This place here shows how much Pablo means to the people from this area. These people from this area hold him in such high regard that he's a saint for them still these days. Whereas for the rest of the country, and probably the majority of the people of Medellin, he was a drug lord, a drug pin, and a murderer. And there's no denying that he was. But for the people of this area, he gave them hope. He built houses for them. He gave back to the poor people. So, there's no denying that Pablo was a murderer and a drug lord. But also, there's no denying that he was a Robin Hood kind of person. Because he stole from the rich, from the government, from the state, and gave back to the poor. And this is the prime example of it, this barrio here. More than the legends that you symbolize today, not a lot of people, if just a few, know the reality, the essential reality of your life. Thank you for giving us a dignified life. This shows how much of a saint Pablo is for the people here. That's it from a very interesting day here in Medellin, delving into the history of one of the most important figures, or rather one of the most famous figures of Colombian and Medellin history. A figure which has surely shaped Colombia and Medellin in particular. And even though many people, especially the poor people of the barrio, the Pablo Escobar Gaviria, still reckon Pablo as a saint today, because Pablo, without any shadow of a doubt, also, apart from the many cruel things he's done, also did a lot of good things. He acted like a kind of Robin Hood by giving back to the poor, building houses for the poor, even building neighborhoods for the poor. And despite this fact, no one can argue that probably the death of Pablo, the suicide of Pablo, as it is officially, or no, officially it is the killing of Pablo by the Colombian government, but unofficially they say that Pablo shot himself on that rooftop on the 2nd of December 1993 so that the Colombian government couldn't collect the 10 million price tag which was on his head. So this is why the Colombian government up until this day claims to have killed Pablo, but in reality most people believe that Pablo shot himself. But anyway, it is tough to say this, but probably the death of Pablo on the 2nd of December 1993 was the best thing that could have happened to Medellin as a city and to Colombia, but especially to Medellin, because from that day the war ended, the violent war which had shaped that city and made it the murder capital of the world throughout the 90s had ended, and from that day the city was transformed from the murder capital of the world into one of the safest, if not the safest city of South America. It became a sophisticated and safe city, and it has changed the path and the life of all the paisas, of all the people of Medellin. So without any doubt, the death of Pablo was the best thing that could have happened to the people of Medellin. Whether it was himself or the government that killed him, the death of Pablo, even though he did a lot of good things, was the best thing that could have happened to the people of Medellin. With that being said, goodbye guys, I'll see you soon, I'll see you in the next one, and adios paisas, hasta luego.